Okay, we're live. This is Matthew, and we're back with Scent Spotlight. The Scent Spotlight is a show where we shine a light on the amazing creators who are on Scent and who are doing super interesting things both on and off it. This week, we have a special Scent Spotlight with Max Osiris. Him and I are going to be talking a lot about the crypto art show that he helped shepherd into reality over in LA last week. So I'm super excited for that. But to get things started, I'll ask the question that I ask every Spotlight guest. But just tell us, who is Max Osiris?
Hey, thanks for having me on here. Who is Max Osiris, right? Like I don't know. I would say Max Osiris is a crypto nomad. Alternatively, I would say Max Osiris is a crypto artist, and that's kind of the decided to make that my moniker, if you will, and to kind of take the next level of the digital nomad thing that was happening for a while around the world, and I was a part of. And then now I think the opportunity to do it all through crypto is like really interesting to me. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is I'm in LA. I came out here to do the LA crypto art show. A buddy of mine, he runs a gallery here called Inner Space Gallery, which is pretty much the coolest art gallery. So I called him up maybe about a month ago, and I said, "Hey, I want to do a show." I wasn't even sure. I have material from like when I was living on the streets. I have material and just different things. And I said, you know what? I think crypto art. I think it's time, like, to kind of put that out there and to kind of get more of the like offline world eyeballs onto it. So that's what happened.
That's awesome. From the show last week, I was viewing it from a couple different dimensions. I was in Crypto Voxels. I was in the gallery that A Lot of Money and Black Box Art and you and a bunch of other people helped put together. That was dope. That was cool to see that. Then I was also, I felt like your Instagram live feed was an awesome, trippy view into the actual gallery show that was going on over in LA. It was cool. I was seeing folks from Scent Lake. Max Brody was there. Andrew was there, whom you met as well. But I just want to ask from your perspective, like, what was your general takeaway of the show last week?
I had a blast. It was one of the best times I ever had. And like Brecky was there. I feel like he was like such an important part of the show, and Martin. And I think to me, like, the most rewarding moments of it is just like when I was like walking and just like looking over and seeing Martin just like in like deep conversation with somebody about like crypto, about kind of like this whole movement. And I feel like that was just really rewarding to see, like, people being like so into it and really talking about it. And there's people who had never heard of crypto art. There's probably people who came through the gallery who still don't know what crypto art is. Like, I asked my friend, because I think he has a better idea since he's through these events. I was like, how many people do you think come through? Because we never really like tracked. And he's like, I think about 250, 300. So we had a really good crowd come through, very diverse. Especially towards the end of the night, there was like musicians, and I mean, that's the cool thing about DTLA is like the people out here, are in entertainment and fashion. It's a multi-faceted, cosmic frog of whatever the heck this is.
Cosmic frog. Yeah. I mean, from the Instagram live feed that you're showing around, I could see a ton of different people. I could hear like snippets of the conversation that people were having. And that was the cool thing. I really like to see like these small pods of maybe 1, 2, or 3 people that kind of like posted up in front of certain works. And they look like they were deep in some talk about something. I wish in that regard that it was a shame that I wasn't able to make it out to LA for that. That would have been really, really interesting to take a part in. But the folks that you interacted with, were they from crypto? Did they have an idea what crypto art was? Did you speak with like a lot of first timers who just like came in because it looked like a cool thing? Were there any people that you onboarded who maybe scooped some of your work during the show?
All of it, like all the above. There, especially at the beginning of the show, there's a few people that were like interested. Like there's this one woman that came in, and she was like kind of like older. She's been an artist like her whole life, and she got like really turned on by this whole like crypto art thing. And she was like in the corner on her laptop trying to like figure out how to do this thing, what she needs to install is like a wallet, so that was really cool. And I kind of like, maybe I'm kind of a dick in this way, but I'm like, I don't like helping people do that thing. I'm just kind of like, figure it out, like that's part of the appeal of this whole thing to me is that, how do you do this? And, like, oh, okay, MetaMask, yada, yada, and I'm kind of like, I feel like, there's not really like documentation for this stuff. I'm sure people are writing it, but like, it's, and Martin was talking a lot about this too. It's just like, we're part of this like underground scene right now. That's just so cool. Right. And like, it'll never be like this again. Like, have you ever heard of, I think it's a Japanese concept of Ichigo Ichie?
What's that mean?
Ichigo Ichie is like a tea ceremony thing. It's basically like when you say it, you're kind of like acknowledging and invoking that this has never happened before and it will never happen again. Like if we sat down to dinner, if we sit down, for a show, or like it's just this almost this like a reverence for the experience of just acknowledging it, of like how, to me it's like so tied into gratitude of just like, wow, we're in this space and time, and it will recede back into the waves of history. But for us to be here right now is like huge. And I feel like the energy of the show was like that. It was, we were all kind of feeling like we're on this forefront of this thing that is still really underground. But that makes it really cool, like the people that were, that helped put this thing together. I didn't, I'd like, basically over the months, I've been like, my family's been supporting me and my girlfriend was supporting me, and I just like focused all on doing crypto art. So I was like basically selling enough art to help, and I basically like had to put everything into it. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to clear out my whole thing. And, is this thing going to turn into something? And so I kind of just, launched it and said, all right, I'm going to do it. Spent all my money on like the flights and getting some things printed. And I actually had a few artists I just reached out to and I said, hey, I just need to cover my printing costs, but I'd love to like show your work because I appreciate you guys. And they said yes. They sent me Ether. And so I kind of like cobbled it together. Sort of, I think it's kind of like the best way to do it.
No, totally. It was fascinating to watch it take shape. And the part that got me most, I mean, of course, like there's the offline component and the artists that met up. But to me, it almost seemed like this was something that originated in the digital world. And it was kind of transposing this digital crypto art movement into the real world. That may be like one of the first times something like that's ever happened. Because normally the digital world, the internet, is kind of given short shrift compared to the reality. Things in reality are usually transposed or changed into the digital. And the digital is somehow like secondary or inferior to what happens in the real world. But this is almost like an inverse of that. And to your point, like this super underground, very early group of crypto art marauders that are doing fucking cool shit. And are really trying to push the bounds of what people can do and the creator's role in all this, right? Like leading it. Like there was no gallery operator that was like selecting things and was trying to be and act as an intermediary. Like this was of creators for the rest of the world to kind of like take note of some of the cool stuff that's beginning to bubble up and happen. That to me was so important. And Ichigo Ichie, that moment, it's gone. It won't come back. But like if we're thoughtful enough, like we won't forget that. And if we don't forget that, we can keep kind of infusing the spirit of what we do heading forward with that. And I just feel like the spirit is so vibrant and so alive. And there's just so much more latent space and potential to grow within. It's fucking awesome to watch and be somewhat a part of.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I have never felt more of a part of community than when I announced it and everybody came together to make it into reality. I really felt supported in a way that I don't think I've really felt, in any other sort of online or offline environment. Black Box Art, she came through. A lot of money came through. Like they like built these like galleries online for us to walk through as we were doing the real world thing. To me that was like unprecedented and like really cool to watch. Like I call her Sparrow, basically. Like she like her avatar was like decked out. I met with her
She had
afterwards.
those roller skates, dude, and
And
the
I was like, damn, you're like Gaga, like the Met Gala. And I was like, that's really sweet. And like, I felt really supported by the artist. And I think that's, to me, this whole movement is like that. And I try to do the same thing. Like there's a like Giselle X, talked to her, and she was like waiting for her money to like clear through. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do what my friend did to me a year ago, which is just like send you, $10 worth of Ethereum, just so you have something in your wallet so you can start tokenizing. And I was just like, yeah, rad, right? And it's like, it's the same kind of thing. Like that's the vision I have, is just to like keep paying it forward and to like onboard more artists. Cause there is like the potential and the promise of this thing is something that's really near and dear to my heart as an artist. Cause I think for me, I want to create like, and this is kind of like my style. Like there's a lot of artists that kind of like have a style, but my style is just like, a cacophony, the kitchen sink of creativity. To me, it's like, today I was walking Echo Park, and I just was like, okay, that's some dope ass like graffiti, and I don't know, some gang or something, like that's really cool. So I took a picture of that, and it's just like basically like I'm just this like whale shark of visual data. You put it all in, and I just throw it up, into a thing that exists. To me, and this is how I love saying it, is, it's a series of ons and offs that are vibrating digitally across the world, stored in silicon. It's insubstantial in a sense. I went through like a big spiritual phase, and I wouldn't even say that I am that, but like it's as close to spirit as it comes. It's like, and now we're getting into the sort of like the DMT zone of, in all the major religions, it's like the trifecta. And I feel like the O and the one, the on and the off, and the like how many times that has to switch repeatedly. It's like this is infusing spirit into matter in a sense. And in a way, it stops to matter so much more, whether it's on canvas or not. And I think, for me, like this show was kind of just like, it was like a shot across the bow for me to like the world, because it's a revolution. And the thing is like the canvases and everything else that I printed was almost like taking a step back. It was like, oh, well, okay, I'm going to like put this on these things, and I still have them with me, and they're going to like go into people's homes and whatever at some point. But it felt like going backwards in a sense. Like I think this thing of digital art, and I think Jason Bailey, Art Gnome, he's kind of like in the other side of the world, just like talking about it and basically getting people into this idea that like digital art is the most important art of this century. And I completely agree. And I think like for me, I love watching all these like people, friends and people kind of like, there's so many, like one of the things for the show that I started like putting names on and there was like so many different like versions of this thing, because I just kept adding names. And I didn't cover, like half the people I wanted to cover, like in ability and like so I'm talking to them. I'm kind of like, as I've been out here, I don't want to collaborate with everybody. I just want to like make dope shit. And I want to like penetrate the mass consciousness with like the aesthetics of these movements. And I feel like the crypto art movement has very specific aesthetics that are, that are like artifacts culturally. And I feel like, it's like vaporwave. Like now Adobe's got like that kind of aesthetic, and they're, and I'm like, okay, well, this stuff is going to like be eventually, like in the Adobe blah, 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 as they sort of catch up. But I'm like, and I feel like, what's it like to you? Like, do you see that as like as a developing aesthetic of like the crypto art movement specifically, or?
So there's a couple things there, taking from all the amazing shit that you just said. First of all, let me just concur with you. You're for sure like the whale shark of crypto art. I totally feel that in your pieces. It's like you're just capturing all of the dope aesthetic designs, like these influences around you, and like you're creating things like your Disintegrated piece, Leaving Eden, Temporal Shark Dream, Salvatore Future Humani. Like it's so rich, and you can feel like all the different influences and what you've seen like going into those works. And then I love your metaphor of kind of like breathing the spirit into the space. And I took that more so to mean like breathing the spirit of creativity and collaboration, like all the positives that we're seeing crypto art and crypto kind of provision into this digital space. Like if you see the digital space as this cold, hard other world, what crypto art is doing is breathing humanity into there. And the experience of seeing crypto art in like a virtual world, it's amazing. And the vibe of the work that's going on right now is just pushing forward. It's like, this is going to me next. People are reacting to it like, this is dope, I want this. Or like they're excited when they see collaborations between their favorite artists that they see, which is something I've been tripping on lately, because I'm not 100% sure if how frequent artistic collaborations were in the past in the traditional art world. But like lately seeing like WG meets MLibT collaborating, Sparrow working with Comment to make this crazy trippy neon art district in the Gangnam section of Cryptovoxels, a bunch of other artists working together to create cool shit. Probably maybe because it's so trivially easy to create a smart contract in such a way that if the artwork or whatever you create sells, like money just gets automatically routed to whoever were collaborated on it. But I just see this space opening people's eyes to what's possible in the digital world, but also with the interplay in the real world, like what you're doing and how you're pioneering the idea of this crypto nomad. I feel like that's so powerful, because the digital nomad phase, I think that captivated people's imaginations. Like, wow, I can travel the world and like still eat and like experience the best of like all these different cultures. And I think there's definitely distinct limitations that were part and parcel in that lifestyle. But the crypto nomad version of that is like, we have people working with one another, funding one another, supporting the community, supporting communities. It's something feels richer, deeper, more connected. And the potentialities for people that participate in that sort of life, I just think they're so immensely large, we can't even comprehend right now. It's a game of StarCraft where the map is all black in the beginning and we're just pushing forward, lighting up the map. And the map is amazingly large.
And we're co-creating it. You know what I mean? It's like the Terrence McKenna. I don't know if you ever listened to Terrence McKenna, but like one of my favorite people ever. And he talks about it. It's like create your own roadshow, and now we have the tools to actually do it, to actually like create the future that we're making it. And it's like, it is, it's very like alchemical for me. Like some of my friends, some of my earliest friends, like Ilan Katin and Oficinas, TK, like those are that's like my family. That's my crypto family. Because a year ago, like, and I kind of like I lost my mind, went through many madnesses and things like that. And they're still like around, and they were kind of like through that. And a bunch of crazy shit happened that came, whatever. But but like at the same time, like to your point earlier when you were talking about sort of this, I call it like it's like a developing property of the world. It's like the memetics of it are being formed around us as we speak. And it's always easier to see it historically. But when you're in it, and I feel like it's a very sensory thing. Like we feel it. We feel that we're in this thing, and it's this like thing that we're this wave that we're like surfing in a lot of ways. So I had like a month, 2 months ago, something like that. I had a ketamine trip, ketamine assisted basically thing. And I just remember like laying there and I saw it. Like I actually saw this thing that we're currently experiencing it. And I was like, wow, the world has never seen anything like this before. Like the best way for me to describe it was like, I saw Ethereum as like an economic system and a religion, and as, like all these things that were like meshed together into one vehicle, like I call it, 70 ships, right? Like seventh dimensional ships. Like there's like large ships of like energy that we're, sort of stepping in and out of, that we don't even have the language to comprehend what's actually happening.
Yeah, I almost see like Ethereum as the LSD of capitalism. Once you take it, you kind of like disintegrate what you thought capitalism was supposed to be. And then individuals are able to corporatize their actions in a sense. they're able to take the power into their own hands. They're able to see that I can make this money too. And if you make it as a collective, you can bring that together, and you're just forming like these decentralized organizations amongst the community that you are a part of. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's trippy to send, receive ether and be like, oh yeah, there's no corporate, whatever, to sign, co-sign, whatever. It's like, and that's at the heart of the whole thing. And I feel like, Martin from the show was like really in on this from like the European front. I'm really excited to like go over there. I've had some invitations. Berlin's on my radar, Amsterdam's on my radar. Like this thing it's a global worldwide phenomenon. And the thing that's so fascinating to me is like, if I go down the street right here, there's like a gallery and, there may be people coming in and out, but like what we take for granted is, in a sense, like if you get up all the galleries in the world and all the different art that exists, it's so much. And for us right now, we're living through this like almost this like little bottleneck of attention through which people are showcasing their art. And there's so much art out there that I feel like we're like the blessed few right now, because like people, each other's eyes are on it. And eventually I feel like, it'll get distributed out and people have like their tribes and I'm already seeing some of that.
You sort of alluded this like sort of next steps. And I know that I've seen you on Twitter trying to plan the next moves, like where's the next gallery going to be? Rizzo and I were actually talking about Berlin as well, like coming together over there. Like something about that area feels super dope to come through in a way similar to what you were doing. That'd be dope if we could collaborate as a sidebar. As you're planning your next moves for like the next show and things like that, I'm just curious, based on the lessons learned and everything that you're able to take away from your experience in LA, being a pioneer in that way, like what are some things that you're looking to improve, do better, add to the show, take away for whatever you end up doing next?
I'm not really a fan of like dragging, the stuff around. Like I'm very, I don't want like a portfolio of things. So I've actually been thinking about like, I'm looking at this backpack right now and I bought it with the intent of like taking it to Asia, and I was like, okay, what's going to be best? And I was going to like paint an Ethereum logo on it or something. And I'm looking at it right now and I'm kind of like, I want to find some like iPhones or Androids. I actually even thought of like, it'd be cool to have do like an art project where it's like send your old phones, whatever it is, to like an address, maybe do like a whole Burning Man thing on it next year, where it's just because I used to have like old iPhones laying around in my drawers, and I was like, oh, what if people just like were to send them all to this like central place, so we could create this like megalith monster of like screen crypto art, that like is moving and glitching, and I'm like, man, that'd be dope.
Like a modern equivalent of Namjoon Internet Dweller, just like Crypto Dweller or something like that with mobile phones and whatnot.
I don't even know what that is, but I appreciate the reference, man. I'm like, cool. I'll have to.
I'll send you a link after. Actually, Bard, I don't know if you know Bard Ianson, the dude who does a lot of like oscilloscopic work. He had a post the other day. It fucking blew my mind about apparently Namjoon is like his major inspiration artistically. And he had this like 2 or 3 year epic journey of trying to pinpoint all these statues created out of TVs and like really like 60s, 70s era like electronics looking like people. And he named it the Internet Dweller back in the day. I know you're a busy dude. I don't want to take too much time from you. One of the things that I like to ask guests that are featured on Spotlight before I leave is, who do you want to see spotlighted next? Are there any people in the space that you want to know more about, that you're digging what they're doing?
Well, yeah, Elon Tatin for sure. I'm like really feeling his stuff. Yeah, or like Sparrow. She's like,
dude, I did Sparrow Monday. That's coming as well. That's in the queue. Dude, I had an awesome talk with Sparrow, like hour and 45 minutes. But oh my God, what a deep talk. She is so fascinating. She's so multidimensional. I love her. I feel like she's perfect.
And that's like, I feel like to even be playing at this level right now with everybody that's like aware of, and it's like in their consciousness and they're doing the crypto art thing. Like, I feel like it is people, like, as far as I've been able to see, that just are such deep, like, thinkers and feelers. And, like, that's like, I feel like I'm running like a million miles an hour right now, just like in the whole but like there's like moments where I like pause, I look at what they created, and I was just like, oh my God, I can get lost in that. And I could like feel the literary background and the vision, you know, it's just like tomes of genius that I get to like look at.
Dude, totally. This is an awesome conversation. I'm glad I was able to chat with you again. Hopefully this is not the last time either. I feel like we have a lot of potential collaboration, a lot of chats left to have heading forward, man.
Yeah, man. I feel like we're rock stars, man. I really do. Like, I think this is the future of all things. And it's like, I always have like a smirk on my face anymore these days. I'm just like, I have no idea what's coming. It's going to be so good. And we're all going to be like part of it.
Dude, I'm cheesing super hard over here. Like I have the biggest smile on my face right now. This is awesome.
Likewise.
Take care, be well, and then we'll link up in the future, man.
All right, my brother.
Later.